Well, as summer approaches, many are planning their getaways, but leaving the city doesn't mean you have to say goodbye to good home cooking. Chef Andrea Buckett, who you may recognize from The Good Stuff with Mary Berg, has a new cookbook. Got it right here in my hands, specifically for the limited kitchen at your cabin or elsewhere on the road. Andrea, good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you, Kent.
And I love in here how it's the essential cottage cookbook, but you also mentioned cabins, because around here we're calling them cabins.
Well, that's the big debate across Canada, right? Do we call them cottages, cabins? I know out east they call them camps. But you guys are cabins, so I love that.
Yeah, and you've got all kinds of help for people heading to the cabins in the summer. Specifically, what's your advice for stocking up? You don't necessarily have a luxury kitchen. You don't have a ton of space or appliances. So what's your advice there?
Yeah, I'd say definitely know where you're going. If it's a family cabin that you're going to, you kind of know what you're in for. But perhaps you're renting a place with friends or family. First of all, if you're going out to the cabin with your buddies, I know that you're going to, easily grab some hot dogs and, a couple cases, right? And have some fun. But if there's families involved, you might want to start yourself some sort of spreadsheet with all the meals and then have people populate them. So, nothing is missed. Everyone's well fed. If there's food allergies, you could pop those into the spreadsheet or a text. Sometimes it's just as easy. But there's nothing worse than heading to the cabin and everyone brings 12 cobs of corn. So just communicating with the people you're going with is number one.
Always have way more eggs than we need when I go to the cabin. Totally. So I want to show some people some of the pictures from the cookbook because they're fantastic. You got cookies, you've got no-bake nachos, you've got an incredible spread of omelets as well. Probably could use all those eggs that I usually bring to the cabin. What's your advice for pulling all this off? This looks like stuff I couldn't do in my own kitchen. How are we doing this at the cabin?
Well, I have to say that the images in this book are absolutely breathtaking, but at the core, the recipes in this book are really simple. I had a couple pillars in terms of developing recipes. First, minimal equipment required. Some cottage or cabin kitchens are not stocked properly, so minimal equipment, minimal ingredients with maximum flavor. So, the pictures are aspirational for sure, but anybody anywhere can really pull these recipes together. And they sort of lean into seasonality and a little bit of nostalgia recipes. And I'm not opposed to having a few hot dogs around the campfire either.
No, certainly not. Now, here's my question, because these look fantastic. And yeah, you're right. A lot of detail with as far as not using a ton of equipment. But who's doing the dishes following all these great bakes?
Oh, yeah, that's always the question, who's doing it. When I grew up going to the cabin, we only had rain barrels. So you can imagine, especially closing weekend, which was Thanksgiving, everyone was boiling the water and doing the dishes. So it was definitely a group effort. And if you're being invited to someone's cottage, always do the dishes because that means you'll get an invite back.
Absolutely. And you know what you also need at the cabin all the time is something to read. And this cookbook is fantastic. It is hearty. Will fit right on the shelf as well. Andrea, congratulations on the book. And we certainly appreciate all the advice that is in here as we head out for the summer.
Thank you so much, Ken. Have a great day and have a great weekend. Hopefully you're going to be cooking out of that book.
I think so. Andrea, thank you so much. You can learn more by visiting AndreaBuckett.com.